Okay. If you don't know me, Strawberry Dream, favorite monster ever. Always got to have that. Guys, we're working on the Slash today. I got to talk a little bit louder than normal, so I apologize. I don't have my mics. I failed to charge my mics, of course. So we've got a couple things here that we're going to do to finally fix our two-wheel drive Slash. We kind of robbed some parts off of it a couple weeks ago. As you can see on this side, we had to rob the outer axle and like stub. And so we're going to go ahead and put a new one of those on. And then we also had to get, because in the process of robbing a few parts for my car, we robbed a few parts for Ryan's car as well that same day. And so we need to put them back on. And one of them is the little, it's kind of the camber link like ball stud, if you will, from Traxxas. Let's see, what's the part number? 2742X. It's just the rod ends and the hollow balls that go on the rod ends so that you can, I guess I would just call it like the pivot ball or whatever that's in the end of the link, end of the camber link. We had to rob one of those for Ryan's car. So, we're going to put a new one of those on. The rest of this, I just bought the whole pack of ends and balls because I didn't know if I would need more of those later on. I figured I would. Let's see. We're just going to wrench today, guys. We've been so busy with racing. And then if you guys watched the latest video, we got Trevor into racing finally. Perfect. So that's pretty exciting. We got Trevor into racing. I'm ecstatic about that. The fact that he went ahead and purchased a TT02 so that he can do some on-road racing. I'm loving it. I cannot wait. And yeah, we've got a long road ahead of us for him to build his RC. You know, he needs radio and transponders and all the stuff needed, but we're gonna get there, guys. We've got a shout out to our buddy Zach, man. He's hooking my brother up with a sweet used remote at a good price just to help him get started. So that's gonna make it to where he's got leaps and bounds ahead of most people with just a better remote. It's not quite what we want to get him, but it'll get him by for the first year or so and keep him rolling. So that's the most important part, is we want to make sure he's rolling as quickly as we can. All right, so now we got to put the rear carrier on. Let's see. Oh, it's right in front of me. And we're going to go ahead. Oh, they go this way. Sometimes I take my cars apart and I forget. So, in the meantime, a lot of you guys know this already, but these little hinge pins sometimes can get very, like, stuck, if you will. And so a lot of times we'll just take these little sanders and ream the holes out so that your carrier will slide a little bit easier or rotate and not be bound up, I guess, is kind of what you don't want. There. It shouldn't be that difficult, Walter. Let's see. Did we get through? Okay. And I think we've got the big L on this. Pretty excited, guys. I don't know about you, but this is a fun time for me in the RC, especially now that my brother's getting into it. This is, yeah. And one of the reasons why I'm trying to keep this two-wheel drive Slash, everybody kind of wonders why. I've had a few people comment on, why are you worried about building that two-wheel drive Slash? And it's like, well, eventually, for the off-road stuff over at Poor Boys, we will be running two-wheel drive slash classes to where that's all you need is this car box stock. You don't need anything else. That's kind of the idea. And so, and the way that the rules usually run is it's the 2S system. So you can either run, I think you get the option of running either uh, the XL5 power plant with the 12 turn brushed motor, or I think some places are allowing the BL2S power plant just because it's anymore. I think they might be fizzling out. Traxxas might be fizzling out making the XL5 slash, so that BL2S power plant's pretty sweet system for the 2S platform, and it's pretty powerful. And like I've had the rally, the Traxxas Rally that had the BL2S, and that was a 4-wheel drive car, and it was very spunky. It was very fun to drive, let's say the least. And when you have a car like that in 4-wheel drive that's very fun and powerful based on the 2S platform, it can make for a good user experience when it's in 2-wheel drive as a two-wheel drive chassis as well, and can be a lot faster because usually the 2-wheel drive cars are a little bit lighter. The platforms aren't as bulky, and so sometimes you end up with a little bit better like scenario with the 2-wheel drive stuff. That's why we like 2-wheel drives. They're a little bit more fun to drive, especially if you've got some driving experience. They can be a lot more fun to rally, if you will. Not everybody likes it, but I do. I'm more of a 2-wheel drive. I love the 4-wheel drive stuff. It's just once you dive into some of those 4-wheel drive cars, they're too fast for bashing out in front of your house, and yeah, you got to take them somewhere specific, and it just kind of becomes a pain in the butt. So let's see, we can get this slid back in there. Got our axle back on. Hopefully then we're going to get this thing cleaned up and ready for indoors, because we've been bashing it outdoors and we don't want to take it this dirty on the carpet. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take the shocks off. I think we're going to take most of the front end parts apart, get that all serviced and cleaned. And we're going to test out the CowRC Sonic Cleaner that they gave us for the pits. We're going to give that thing a whirl and see what it's all about, because we've heard nothing but good things about it. And so, yeah, we're just going to keep testing, reviewing, fixing, wrenching. All right, now we're just going to put the snap that back on, put our tire back on, and just like that. I think I'm going to switch. Yeah, I had a feeling. So here's another little trick. I don't really know if it's a trick or not, but we're gonna see if it works. I'm gonna try it out. They make different width hexes for the slash and pretty much all the 10 scale stuff. I think they originally started making them on the drag slash stuff, and so yesterday when I was buying the parts, they asked me which width I wanted. And I was like, ooh, I've never been asked that question before, I said, let's go with the wider ones, because what we're trying to do or figure out here is if the little bit wider hex, which would make the stance wider, is beneficial to the 2-wheel drive slash. So I told him, I said, let's give her a whirl. I'm always up for testing parts. You know me, I never turn down a good opportunity to test. And yeah, what better way than on some of the Traxxas stuff. So I'll give you a good shot here. These are, it doesn't say. No, that's drive shaft. What's this one? Rod ends, hexes. These are the 10 mil. So I'm not sure. I'd have to do some research and figure out what the difference is, but you can see these are a little bit wider. So I'm going to say the stock's probably 8 mil and what we bought is 10 mil. And so we're going to try these 10 mil. I think these are what come on the rear of a drag slash, I believe. we're going to try them on our two-wheel drive to see if they make a difference. And if by widening the stance, if it helps, hurts, you know, what the benefit is, if there is one. If there's not, then so be it. Maybe it's just what, you know, I'm not that the wide ones versus the stock ones were any different in price. It just, always worth a shot. Trying different stuff. You never know. This thing might handle like a champ now. So, but yeah, we're going to get these things ready for box stock racing, hopefully at Poor Boys this summer. If we get enough people running these things, it should be fun. I'm going to see about, you know, getting that class going and seeing what we can come up with. So, rear end's fixed there. Now, what we got to do is go through and clean this thing and get it ready for indoor because it's way too dirty to put on the carpet right now. We also need to make a trip down to Al's to get some fresh tires for this thing. So we got to do that. We got a couple things we need to check off the bucket or the list here, off the to-do list, if you will. So we're going to go ahead and finish cleaning, and then we'll probably do a video on our trip down to Al's to get some tires for this thing. And then we've also got a big video coming this week on a trip to Al's for a new car. I always love new car day. You guys always love new car day. Make sure you smash that like button if you like this video. Also, make sure you're subscribed and click that bell for notifications. And guys, as always, we will see you next time.